you, primary focus today was really what I think is going to be a huge point of emphasis for our offense in the game, and that's picking up a lot of exotic pressures that Penn State throws at us, especially on third downs. Reminds me a lot of some of the Arizona State game, the Utah game, about four-man pressures coming from both field, boundary, up the gut. It tried to confuse a quarterback with several zone coverages, so we primarily worked on that. The other emphasis that we worked on today was primarily trying to keep Trace, their quarterback, in the pocket. Looking, we watched a little bit as a team of his ability to scramble and his ability to be able to create and keep his eyes downfield and make throws. And so we made that a big point of emphasis today with some of our pressures about keeping him in the pocket and don't let him get out, because he can be extremely dangerous with those big receivers once he gets out there. Have been very fortunate. We've been through our second, basically getting towards the end of our second week of game planning here, and have come out pretty healthy. No injuries again today. So with that, I'll take any questions that you have.
You jumped in a drill there earlier today. Is that something you've done this season?
Yeah, I love it. We call that our iron sharpens iron period, and I get the opportunity to run both scout teams, being up there late at night and watching both offense and defense. I get a feel for both sides of the ball and being able to coach the guys on the exact look our offense and defense need. So plus it gives a great sense of urgency to our players and our service members that they are extremely valuable, the look that they've given us. So that's something that we did over the month of October and November as we started working together, and I have a lot of fun with it, so I enjoy it. So it gives me an opportunity to coach.
When you think about Rose Bowl prep and the fact that it's a 40-minute drive, maybe if there's traffic, how much do you appreciate that rather than the trip across the country some teams may have to make?
Yeah, we've been so fortunate here in Los Angeles. You look at this has been a very comfortable spot for us. If you look at the season, whether it's been in the Coliseum or in the Rose Bowl, we've been very fortunate this year to come out with victory. So to have that routine of staying at home and preparing at home, it works for us. I know our kids are so excited, one, to be in the Rose Bowl, to be a part of that history, but to also have the opportunity to prep right here at home on our own practice field. Obviously, that's nice.
Is Khalil Rogers back in?
Khalil Rogers, no, he's still going through concussion protocol.
What have you thought about the development this season of Uchenna and Porter?
Oh man, the way they've grown as pass rushers. Learning from their technique and fundamentals and how much pressure they're creating off the edge. You look at the NFL defenses now. I think of Webb from Denver and how they're taking those speed linebackers, putting them out on the edge, and getting to quarterbacks on third down, and that's been a huge key to us. I go back and think about even the last game versus Notre Dame and the ability to get 6 sacks in that game, coming with those outside pressures by those two kids, and both are returning, which is really neat. To have that type of experience they gained from this year, and then having that being able to come back should be huge for us.
And Stevie, what kind of potential does he have at the next level?
I think of what Antoine Woods did for us last year, and here comes Stevie, and he's doing the same things, and Antoine's thriving in the NFL right now, and Stevie's doing the same thing as even a bigger man. So I think he's got a huge ceiling at the next level. We're going to miss him. I know that. To have him, he was the perfect fit for us at the right time to really bring a young group, a very immature group on the defensive line, and mature that group both on the field and off has been huge help.
A few of the guys have talked about their memories of watching that 2009 game with USC Penn State. What do you remember from watching it?
Oh man, well, one, the victory, being for USC, but just the amount of plays that were made by several key members, some special players, and that's what's going to have to happen when you get two teams like are coming together now, and you the number 5 team in the country, number 9 team in the country, and you put that amount of talent up, you expect your playmakers and your brightest stars to shine the brightest on that type of stage. So I can't wait. You're looking at two really good teams with very talented football players, and that's what it looked like in 2009. You looked up and wow, there's talent all over that field. I expect the same thing from this team.
Dory was saying that Keyshawn reached out to him, gave him a little bit of advice, and he was just so excited. What do you think it means for these guys to play in such an iconic game, and what does it mean for you to coach in it?
Well, it's history. It's tradition. This is the 34th appearance by USC in this game, and it's the 25th opportunity to call yourself Rose Bowl champions. that lives with you forever. I mean, to be able to, 20, 30 years from now, to be a senior, to be a Michael Hutchings, to be that senior group and say, man, I had the opportunity not only to play in the Rose Bowl, but imagine if we win this, to be a Rose Bowl champion. That's something that lives with you forever. Makes the hair stand up on the back of my neck, I know that.
What's the biggest development you've seen this year from Big E Marshall?
Just his physicality has come even more into play. I know he's really, as you saw early in the year, he was getting a little bit of penalties he's a hands-on player, and I love the fact that Clancy and Ronnie said, you know what, that's his game, but let's try to tinker with technique and fundamentals, because that's really the strength of his game. He's got such athleticism to keep up with bigger receivers, and also to be able to put hands on them where they're struggling at the line of scrimmage. And you look late, especially in the month of November, you don't see a lot of penalties by the kids. So I thought he really improved in technique and fundamentals, and not being so grabby, but really playing fundamental and technique football. And not a lot of passes have gone his way as you look in the month of November. So credit to him.
How comfortable are you with him if Adoree does decide to go?
He's been here starting 2 years, and he's been matched up on some really good players. When you think about Pac-12 receivers, they're the best of the best in college football, and he's been matched up for 2 years, a 2-year starter, and he's a guy that I know loves to perform at the highest level and has done a great job for us for the last 2 years. I just see him continue to progress.
Last night, 3 former SC players were named to the Pro Bowl. Any comment on that?
Tell me which 3. I've been Penn State. Tell me which 3.
Tyron Smith. You just put me on the spot here. Gerald.
There you go.
And Casey and
Oh man.
Everson Griffin.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So proud of them to be able to have the opportunity to go to the Pro Bowl. And that's why you come to SC, to develop as a player here and then move on to the NFL and have the opportunity to perform at the highest level. And you look, whether it's Pro Bowlers, Hall of Famers, we've been pretty good at that here. To have 3 more going into that game, credit to them. Was a part of 2 of the 3 of their lives, and be able to see them when they were here. So I'll be a big fan on that day.
Now that you've kind of go through the game week preparation for the second time, how much has your game plan changed from last week to this week?
We tinkered with a little bit of things. We threw out some things we didn't like. Anytime that you have this much time, you look at it and go, oh, I got this new fresh idea, or let's try this, and then you go, no, that was good. No, maybe we'll keep this one. But primarily, we took a big package in, and now we're dwindling it down to where we feel very comfortable with it. And to be able to work it 2 weeks in a row, I think is going to really help us, because you know how it is. You get to that bowl site, and the distractions that you have from going to Disneyland, to going to the Beef Bowl, to going to the Rose Bowl, it's all very exciting, and it makes it harder to focus if you're trying to install a game plan on that week. So to have the opportunity to do it twice, to prepare like we played last Saturday, to prepare like we're playing this Saturday, and then do it one more time as we're there for the actual Rose Bowl week, that's just 3 more games basically you got to play and prep for.
Clay, have you had an opportunity to talk to any former players, coaches that have gone through this process, this experience of the Rose Bowl?
Yeah, one of the things that comes up is you have the ability to talk to some of the players. I know Q was here the other day, and he was talking to some of the guys that were here. Our current players that are here, and you go in there and you try to make it. You know how special a game it is, but you try to make it from the lessons that we've learned throughout an entire season. You look at us from that first game at Alabama in that type of atmosphere to what we were at Washington, and the lessons that we learned on the way. Those were 2 big stages. Now we're coming to another big stage, whether it's a Washington or 2 rivalry games. We got to remember, the bigger the stage, the more important it is to stay in our game, So that's the biggest thing I think I've taken advice from, is just, hey, making sure that you don't change. What you did for the last 8 weeks was pretty darn good. Just because we're going back to that big stage like a Washington or a rivalry game, don't change what we do as a football team. Let's prep like we have. These kids have done that over the last 2 weeks, and hopefully it'll carry over to January 2nd.